What it do, YouTube? How you doing today? Me, I'm doing outstanding. Thank you for asking. I'm going to keep it brief because I'm on my lunch break, but I kind of wanted to talk about this flat earth nonsense. And it's not really nonsense either. The nonsense is that people won't listen to them, and I wouldn't listen to them. 2 years ago, I was that guy. I have a telescope. I've seen Mars. I've seen Jupiter. I've seen their respective moons. Celestial bodies tend to be in a spherical formation, or so I'm told, based on Gliese 587c, and I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. But that particular planet is in the Goldilocks zone of its respective solar system, and therefore it's Earth-like. And the images I've seen, of course, are going to be speculated graphics. Stuff that's created by Photoshop through NASA. They even say, well, it's Photoshop, but it has to be. Because they can't take a picture, they can't take a selfie of the planet. So until they can take a selfie from all four sides, you know what I'm saying? Four cameras simultaneously, sending HD footage to our already overly priced cable, which I cut the cord like, I don't know, 6 years ago, something like that. So I encourage you to do the same, because if they're not giving me a 24-hour video feed of my home where I live, this planet, then why would I want cable to begin with? All the images they're showing us are fake. Everything's fake. Well, not everything. There's some, obviously there's some truth in the world, and you have to be like a sifter or filter in order to find what is true and what isn't true. To question all things, as Paul says in the New Testament. So, let's question the globe theory, which wasn't proven overnight and still isn't a proof. We still don't have a true image of it. The only image we have, when you look at it in Photoshop, everything around it has been edited out. It's not even a true image of it. So it could be a square for all we know, and they edit out everything but a circle, so all you're going to see is a circle. Or how they took a picture of the Earth on their way to the moon through a porthole. So if it was a square or rectangle or giant disc, you're only going to see this much of it through a porthole. So there's all these things, and knowing that Stanley Kubrick, I hope I pronounced that properly, he did Full Metal Jacket, he did Clockwork Orange, he did the moon landing and Eyes Wide Shut, which he coincidentally died because he refused to edit out 15 minutes of footage. He did the moon landing footage, and they say it, well, in case we weren't successful, or everybody died in the process, or mission failed, or couldn't be done, they had footage already to say they had done it. Well, why would you do that? Because now we have to question what you're telling us. We have to question it. Because you went out of your way to make footage to make it appear that you would have done it even if you didn't do it, just in case you didn't do it. So you had footage. And we know that's true because Nixon had a speech prepared in case they hadn't survived. In case the astronauts had died, he had a speech prepared for that scenario. So there was a scenario already video recorded by Stanley Kubrick, who directed it, to show that we had done it successfully had we not done it successfully. You know what I'm saying? So because of that, we have to question it. Did they really do it? Up until last week, I was like, yeah, they did it. Sure, they had fake footage of it too, and they really did it. Now, I don't know, because I don't know if it's something you can go to. If it's inside the firmament or outside the firmament, this is still a debate. But one thing is certain, you can go up to 130,000 feet, and there's still no curve. Yeah, if it's a rounded disc, you're going to see that curve, but you're not going to see this kind of curve, which you should see as you go up, and you never do. Why? Unless you have a fisheye lens, that's the only time. That's the only time there's a curvature. But the good news is God is glorified out of this debate. Even a globe earther in Reddit, who longest reply I've ever had, I should screen grab it and show you, but in the dead center in the middle of it, he's like, and if it was flat, that would leave room for a creator. And he tried to debunk what he just said, but because if it's a globe, he didn't create it. But if it's a terrarium, it was created by a creator, and you too were created by a creator, which means the age of the earth and all this. Not everything has to be questioned because we've been lied to. And here's another thing: if when they went up to the moon in the first place, we'd already believed for 450 years that it was a globe, right? So they went up to prove this very fact, that it was, in fact, what they already knew. What would you do if you went up there and found out it wasn't what you already knew or thought you knew, and it was a disc with a bulbous bottom of some sort? We know it's at least 8 miles, because the Marianas Trench is like 7.5, and the farthest we've gone, drilled in Russia was 7.5 miles also. So it's not a disc, it's not a pancake, and if anything, it could even have the top may also be like the shape of, and I hate to sound, I don't know, racist or stereotypical, but you know the Chinese hats, or even a symbol. There you go, a symbol on a. So that shape. So when the sun, which is closer than 93 million miles away, because when you send stuff above the clouds, it damn near feels like it's right there, and it's got a sunspot on the clouds. And when the rays are coming in, because the sun is so close, it spreads out. It's not a straight line. If it was 93 million miles away, it would have to be straight lines of sunlight coming into our stratosphere. Have to be straight line. If the planet, here, let's see if I can draw it. Let's say that this whole area is just the edge of the sun, right? And then just like maybe this soul patch is, and that's exaggerating, the size of the earth. It's pretty big, right? Compared to the sun, to the earth. So when scripture says that the stars are going to fall from heaven, how is that even possible if the sun is ginormously bigger than the earth? But what if the sun was much closer? And what if, because it was closer, it could fall from heaven and it was a smaller ball that's actually flying around our disk, like it says in the scriptures? Guys, do your research. I'm not going to keep this rant up for too long, but I do want you to participate in this conversation, because even if you're a globe earth theorist or heliocentric versus geocentric, I want to hear your explanation as to why you are what you are. Prove it, because I tried to prove globe earth, and that's what led me to flat earth, because neither of them at this point, I mean, and why can't we ask Siri or Google or Katana or any of these AIs information? Like, we should be in an information age where you spit out some knowledge, and then a smarter AI says, well, under these conditions with the solar eclipse and and all that's being experienced, it would also work in this particular model, and come up with 10. There could be 10 models based on, well, probably not. It's either one or the other. But it'd be nice to think that with all the parameters that we have, that if I wanted to become a creator and create a terrarium, I could do so, and to mimic what we experience with seasons and time shift, as far as, 12 noon isn't always in the same spot because of seasons, and, well, daylight savings, which may even been created just to throw us off track. Who even knows? Because what I know, it was created for the farmers, but farmers hate it. They don't even need it. They're up before the sun gets up anyways. People. We really need to question, because what I've learned with all these conspiracy theories and Alex Jones rant, I had to stop my Joe Rogan episode 2, if you will, because I've never seen entire episodes of Joe Rogan's 4-hour podcast, with the exception of Alex Jones, and this is his second episode. They just debuted yesterday, and so I'm midway, and he gets going on his rants, and you got to take him in small dosages. But and I'm like, Alex, if you would just focus on the fact that flat earth leads to the truths of all things and all deceptions and all, like, everything, like, because if everybody knew that we were created by a creator, that would change everybody's thinking in a split second, in a twinkling of an eye, as scripture says. We would all be changed. Because, boom, creator, okay, responsible for your actions. Okay, don't shoot anybody not shooting at you first. Go, don't punch anybody that didn't hit you first. Don't, don't do, like, all these things would change and nobody would hit anybody. Nobody would do anything. Anything that would be done would be to, like, glorify God. So, like, sculptures of Michelangelo and statues of David by Michelangelo, and all these things that would just be like, we're so grateful for life that this is what we're going to do to show how grateful, and we'll make this place extremely beautiful, and not like the downtown LA, Seattle, San Francisco, like, just, you can smell it. Like, you can cut the tension with a knife. Just people aren't loving one another, and honestly, that's what it all boils down to. All I need is love. All right, take care, guys. I'm going to keep it short. I know it's been 11 minutes, and I want to even keep it shorter than that, but I can be long-winded at times, so you just need to tell me to stop. Comment in the section below with, I don't know, your thoughts on how is it that we're on a globe, how is it we're on a flat, not disc. It's not a disc. It's not a record. And you're not going to fall off the edge, because obviously Antarctica is an ice wall that's 200 to 300 feet tall. Sorry, I'm ranting again. But people need to know this. Take the globe. Take the North Pole. Take that whole map and just like this, okay? And then bring the sun and moon in closer, and all of it can be replicated. And then imagine, if you will, that beyond the ice ring is more continents. More continents, folks. More continents. That's what's so crazy, because there could be more land outside the ice ring than we have here. But then people are like, well, it'll be too cold because it's too far from the sun then. Not if Jupiter is radiating heat above continents. So there's some maps, and there's some models out there that hypothesize that beyond this ring there are other Arctic rings, and in between the Arctic rings is land that is circulating around this record, this compact disc that's thicker than 8 miles. It's much thicker. It probably has a bulbous bottom of some sort, like, because it would make sense as far as, you wouldn't want it to be topsy-turvy, so it'd be like, have some mass underneath it, but have 4 pillars, because that's what Scripture says. It's sitting on 4 pillars, and the earth is immovable. It does not move 1,000 miles an hour, as NASA tells us. It does not go around the sun at 60,000 miles an hour, as NASA is telling us. It is not spiraling, following the sun as it travels throughout the galaxy like a giant sperm. That's not happening. We are fixed, and this stuff makes so much more sense when you read the Bible from this perspective. Oh my God, it stands on its own pillars, if you will. Sorry, I'm ranting again. I'm trying to keep this short. I really am. But every time I want to conclude, I think of another point that just needs to be mentioned, because if this is true, God loves you. Take care.